in the world, there are countries of which, despite familiarity with their names, we lack substantial information. Without a doubt, Mongolia is one of them. When you hear the name Mongolia, you probably recall Genghis Khan. But for instance, when was the last time you heard news about Mongolia? Or how much do you really know about this country? Today, let's embark on discovering this familiar yet unfamiliar land. A historical country with enchanting landscapes, people deeply connected with nature and intriguing traditions. Undoubtedly, witnessing the fascinating contrast between traditional life and modern structures can make the capital city captivating for anyone. The country of Mongolia is situated in Central and Eastern Asia. It is bordered by Russia to the north and China to the south, entirely landlocked. In terms of land area, Mongolia is the second largest landlocked country in the world after Kazakhstan. With a vast area of 1,564,000 square kilometers, it ranks as the 19th largest country in the world. However, despite its extensive territory, only 3.5 million people inhabit this country. Interestingly, nearly half of this population resides in the capital city, Ulaanbaatar. In fact, Mongolia is considered the least densely populated country in the world. About 95% of its people are ethnic Mongols, with around 4% being Kazakhs. Many Mongolians live a traditional nomadic lifestyle, dwelling in yurts and relying on horses and camels for transportation. While Mongolia does not share a border with Kazakhstan, the lives of Mongolian and Kazakh people share many similarities. History enthusiasts know that the Mongols are an indigenous people who played a prominent role throughout history. In the past, they dominated many regions and established great empires. Initially, they lived in the Gobi Desert and sometimes launched attacks on China. Chinese emperors built the Great Wall to defend against their raids. Under the leadership of the most significant figure in Mongolian history, Genghis Khan, various tribes of this region united and went to war. Genghis Khan established the Mongol Empire in 1206 AD, and during his reign, engaged in conflicts with numerous civilizations, achieving significant conquests throughout history. In the 17th century, the Tsardom of Russia fought many wars with the Chinese to control this region. Although Mongolia declared its independence in 1912, the Chinese continued to occupy various regions of Mongolia. Even today, with the name Inner Mongolia, there exists a provincial region within China. Gradually, the country increasingly fell under the influence of the Soviet Union, and in 1924, the Mongolian People's Republic was established. However, it wasn't until the early 1990s, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, that Mongolia underwent a democratic revolution and transitioned to a multi-party system and a market economy. After the glorious era that Mongolia experienced, the country weakened, and today it is hardly noticed in any field. It can be said that it has secluded itself and lives reminiscing about its splendid past. For this reason, no figure in Mongolia commands as much respect as Genghis Khan, and you can see a monumental statue of him standing 40 meters tall near the capital. This country experiences short, warm summers and extremely cold, snowy winters. Ulaanbaatar, the capital of this country, is considered the coldest capital city in the world in terms of average annual temperature, as the weather remains cold even in spring and autumn. Perhaps the best time to travel to Ulaanbaatar is during the summer. However, even during this season, it's advisable to carry warm clothing. Mongolia is known in legends as the land of the blue sky because the sky remains cloudless for over 2/3 of the year. The Gobi Desert, the sixth largest desert in the world, holds a place in this country. It is the location where, in 1920, the first dinosaur fossils, along with the first dinosaur eggs, were discovered. If we look at the cultural structure of this country, it's important to note the significant emphasis placed on religious traditions. The people of this country uphold their religious beliefs much like their forefathers, keeping their customs alive. The nomadic life in Mongolia celebrates weddings at Kentu, a festival where wrestling matches are held, horse riding competitions take place, and gifts are given to the guests. The largest festival in this country is known as Nadam, a national event where a type of traditional Mongolian wrestling is held, one of the most beloved sports in this country. In another festival called the Golden Eagle Festival, held in the western part of the country, the world's largest eagle hunters engage in games according to the tradition of the Cossacks. The golden eagle is a powerful hunter that the Cossacks train from a young age to accompany them in hunting. Eventually, after 7 years of hunting, the eagle is released back into the wild. Due to specific climatic and cultural conditions, the people of Mongolia have particular dietary habits. Their diet predominantly includes fatty meats and dairy products, while vegetables and spices play a lesser role in Mongolian cuisine. Today, in this geography, most people adhere to Tibetan Buddhism. Among the inhabitants, there's also a minority of Muslims. Among other religions present in this country, Christianity is also notable. Almost everyone speaks Mongolian, but in the western regions, Kazakh Turkish is prevalent. Due to the historical ties between Mongolia and Russia, many people also have proficiency in the Russian language. However, it should be noted that English is not widely used in this country. In the northern regions of Mongolia, in the taiga forests, a different nomadic life unfolds compared to other areas. The population in this area is very sparse, and the people live in their own style of tents. Deer play a significant role in the lives of these people. If you are interested in nature and a life without technology, the nomadic life of the Duka people can be very appealing to you. However, you should know that access to these areas is not very easy. This community consists of family groups, each with about 10 to 15 members, who on average maintain around 40 deer. They use these deer for both sustenance and transportation. These people domesticate and train deer from birth and ride them like horses. The Dukha people do not use the meat of these deer as much as they can, and men of the family go hunting to provide meat because these deer do not have a large population in the area. The milk of these deer and the cheese made from it are considered one of their main sources of nutrition, though they're not always readily available. However, I must mention that these people do not live in tents throughout the year. In winter, to protect themselves from the cold of the north, they take refuge in wooden cabins they have built in the forests. Unlike tents, these cabins have some amenities and even have access to electricity and television with the help of solar panels. These people, like their ancestors, believe in shamanism, and according to it, everything in nature has a spirit that should not be disturbed. Therefore, they use the blessings of nature only as much as they need and respect every blessing. Tent-dwelling people do not have a specific income, and their only notable sources of income are related to these deer. At certain times of the year, the deer shed their antlers and new ones begin to grow. These people carve designs on these antlers and sell them. They also produce bags, shoes, and other items from the skins of deer that die. Generally, the economy of Mongolia relies heavily on agriculture. Among other economic activities in this country, mining is also notable. Nearly 30% of the population is engaged in animal husbandry. However, since such occupations do not yield high income globally, the average income of these people is very low, around $300. The currency unit of this country is called the tugrik. Since it lacks a developed economy, life here is very simple and stagnant. In fact, Mongolia is not a country that attracts Western immigrants for living. However, as a travel destination, it stands out as a unique and unfamiliar location. With an excellent combination of stunning natural landscapes, its wide range of untouched sceneries, nomadic lifestyle, and culture hold extraordinary appeal for tourists. But it's important to note that traveling around Mongolia and visiting its attractions can be very costly due to the extensive distances and limited public transportation network. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye!